Hello everyone, this is Jose Betancourt, and as always, thank you for viewing my videos. Here I'm playing Journey on the PlayStation 4. It was released originally in 2012 on the PlayStation 3. It was created by That Game Company and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. So even though I bought it on the PlayStation 3, it wasn't until it came out on the PlayStation 4 that I finished it, that I decided I wasn't going to play about an hour and then forget about it. I was going to play it and complete it in one sitting. And it took me about 4 hours. Granted, there were a lot of collectibles that I left behind. So I'm going to definitely make it a mission to try to platinum this game. I don't know how difficult that's going to be, so let's see when I get back to it. But the 4 hours that I did spend playing it on the PlayStation 4 were truly memorable. From a visual standpoint to the soundtrack, everything just came together really well. Now, when you look at it and you're watching this gameplay, you're not going to hear dialogue. You're not going to see any arrows pointing me to the right direction. Everything is left up to me and how I'm going to complete this and how I'm going to figure out how to complete my journey. There is some form of cooperative play, but it all boils down to you seeing another player following you along the same journey, and that's about it. Neither one of us could help each other out. The only way we were able to help each other out was when, for example, there was a level where it was a big blizzard, a huge blizzard. We're going up a mountain, and this is towards the end, and the wind was blowing our characters back. And I found that if we stood behind certain objects, we were able to advance a little higher in the mountain without being pushed back by the wind. And so I did it, and the player that was following me did it as well. So we kind of fed off each other without really talking to one another. We literally let the gameplay do the talking. And that was a great experience because in today's age of video games, excuse me, there's a lot of cooperative play. There's a lot of internet interactivity and necessity in a lot of the video games. And I'm talking about games like Star Wars Battlefront, where there's no single player campaign. It's mainly aimed at multiplayer. So when you have a game that is, for example, Destiny, without internet connectivity, you cannot play Destiny at all. And that requires a lot of teamwork when you're playing it. Here, with Journey, I can play it solo without anyone else being in the same journey as I am. And I can play it offline. But you can't get someone to just jump into your game. They're not going to disturb your game at all. They're not going to purposely troll your game and just mess everything up for you. So that in itself is great. When it comes to what we traditionally expect from a video game, Journey is going to somewhat baffle you a little bit because there's no direct narrative. There's nothing that is going to tell you that you need to go from point A to point B. Everything is left up to you. You'll get some hieroglyphics, a little cutscene here and there that kind of indicates what you should be doing or what you have done from that point on. But everything's left up to you. And to me, that was a great experience. It's very similar to Flower, which was also on the PlayStation 3, where with Flower, you had basically no idea what you were doing. You just went out there and you did it. Of course, you had instructions on how to manipulate your character. Same with Journey. And that was it. That was basically it. The visuals came together extremely well. There were certain parts of this video game that I just looked around for a few minutes and I was really impressed. As I stated, the soundtrack comes together extremely well with the visuals. There was literally one part where the music was building up. The elements of the level that I was in, combined with the music, really gave me a sense of intensity. And I was like, wow, what the hell is about to happen here? And when I got to the end, I was like, wow, this video game was well worth the money, well worth the 4 hours that I played, and well worth calling a video game. And that's where I want to go to next. People were bashing Journey. People were bashing games like Flower and things like that for not being video games, and that really ticks me off. Because I grew up in 1970, I grew up playing video games. 1978, I played Asteroids. If Asteroids, Pong, Pac-Man, if those games were to come out today, people would not consider them video games. And let me clarify, not people, some people. Some people within the video game media, some people on YouTube, some people on the social networks. They would not consider a game like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Asteroids video games. If you cannot consider a game like Journey a video game, something's wrong with you. I mean, it's utterly ridiculous, some of the things I hear today. And I just feel, at times I feel like it's the new generation of gamers that really don't know what the hell they're talking about because they never seen the beginnings of the video game industry. Granted, the first video game console was the Odyssey in 1972 by Magnavox. I was born in 72, so I'm not going to say that my first video game console was the Magnavox Odyssey, because I'd be full of shit. But my first video game console, home console, of course, was the Atari 2600. My first video game experience was at a local grocery store which had Asteroids in the back room. Sounds shady as hell, I know. But that experience, I could still feel it. I can still picture it vividly. I can hear the music. I can feel the controls. And I can remember to this day exactly how I felt playing a game like Asteroids for the first time in 1978. The same experience goes with Journey, with The Last of Us, with the Halo franchises. There are certain video games that give you an experience that is long-lasting. And that is the beauty of video games, is that you don't know which video game, which experience, or let me clarify, you don't know where you're going to get a memorable experience from. You're not going to have an idea which video game is going to provide your Asteroids experience. And believe me, I've had many. Gaming as long as I have, I've had many. You think a game like Q*bert, which I got in the arcades, I remember in my neighborhood having the highest score in Q*bert. Over 4 million points on one quarter. I was 11 years old. You think a game like Q*bert, if it came out today for the first time, I know there was a remake, but if a game like Q*bert came out where there's no story, there's no narrative, there's nothing to tell you what to do, you think it would have been considered a video game by some of these, journalists or YouTubers or sociopaths on YouTube, on Twitter and Facebook? It would have been bashed. It would have been called an indie game. It would have been just dragged through the mud. And that is a disturbing trend. So people like me, old fogies like me, I feel there's a need to just let people know that a true video game experience will come from anywhere. Whether it's an independent title, a quote-unquote AAA title, it's going to come when you least expect it. So enjoy these video games. Play them before you judge them. And just love the industry for what it is. It's entertainment. It's memorable experiences. But anyway, that's it for me. As always, I'm Jose Betancourt. I'll talk to you soon.